Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first Bandwagon podcast. With me tonight are three random strangers I've never met. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Christ.
I'm Tate.
And with us, we got a very special guest, the ever-present, ever so talkative Hoodie.
Hello.
He's not going to say a word this entire podcast, by the way.
Maybe.
He's our wrestling analyst.
Yeah, he's going to be talking about wrestling later, maybe. And we also have a very special segment that he doesn't know about. But mostly tonight, we're going to be talking about basketball, both at the college level and the pro level. And we're going to start off with UK. So what'd you think tonight, guys?
Well, I thought it was pretty rough, to be honest. As a Kentucky Wildcat fan, I was kind of hoping we would see that, early season 40-point win. But truth is, we are just freshmen, so.
Yeah. I mean, we started 5 freshmen tonight, and I think the first half was really just jitters, to be honest with you. First time most of them had played on national television, anything like that.
Those are some bad jitters.
Yeah, but in the second half, we looked a whole lot better, especially when we switched to the 2-3 zone. But it is concerning when you've got Sunday, we've got Vermont, who made the tournament last year, and then you've got Kansas looming Tuesday. It doesn't bode well for the week ahead.
Vermont is a good team. If we look past them,
they're sneaky good.
With a young team like this, if we look to Kansas and don't focus on the next game, Vermont will beat us.
Vermont very well could beat us. If we play like we did tonight, there's a lot of teams that'll beat us this year.
And just looking at the stats, it's really don't make sense. I mean, there's really no big category. I mean, usually you have a team like that who plays us close, a mid-major. They're going to shoot good from 3, But, I mean, really, they shot 40% from the field. 27% from the three-point line. They was just getting in the lane. No, yeah. We wasn't playing defense.
Really, the first half, what you really seen was just an experienced team in Utah Valley that was executing their game plan to perfection. And then on the other side, you've seen a bunch of raw talent that really didn't know how to play together at this point in the season.
Mark Pope, the coach, former
Wildcat. Former Wildcat champion. He's got a ring.
I thought they did well tonight. I mean, honestly, they have nothing to be ashamed of. They play Duke tomorrow at Cameron. That's crazy.
That's a rough turnaround.
That is crazy.
It's definitely a game worth watching.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think stood out tonight?
One of the positives I think we can take away from this is probably Hammy. I thought Hammy played well.
Hammy did play. He played really well.
18 points,
50% from the field.
Yeah, that's good. If he can consistently hit those 3-point shots. If we have anybody that consistently hit 3-point shots, we could have some real potential.
Yeah, we were 5 of 15 from 3 tonight, by the way. So, I feel like if we can hover right around that 35% from 3, we should be able to make it through the season.
Just keep them honest, because we got the athletes to get to the rim.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you guys are clearly more experienced in this, so I'm just going to bounce some stuff around that I've read and that I can't necessarily verify. So you guys let me know if it's incorrect or misconstrued in any way. But Tate was going on about Hami, and I think that Hami is probably going to be our potential star player on that team.
He absolutely was the spark tonight that turned it around. He's such an energetic player. The thing that worries me about him is he looks like he could be really streaky. Kind of like he reminds me a lot of Malik Monk last year, where he would just have a string of great games, and then the next 2 weeks you wouldn't even know he played in the game. But that was fine because you had a steady hand at the point like Darren Fox. And I really don't know that we have that all-star point guard this year that can pick up the slack if everybody else is not competing.
Yeah. But as far as guards, do you think that we're kind of deep in that position though? Or is that
not extremely deep, no. Really the only true point guards per se that we have would be Quade Green and Gilgis Alexander, right?
Yeah, I would actually say that Alexander's not even a true point. He's more of a 2 that they've kind of forced into that point guard role.
But not necessarily point guards, but just guards in general. Like, are we deep in that?
Well,
Not
when
really.
we
I
get Baker
think
back, we'll be a little bit deeper, and
Baker
hopefully he'll provide a little bit of 3-point shooting. That's what
Just
he's known
yeah,
for.
just
So
in
Baker is going to be
comparison,
huge for us.
yeah, just in comparison to the previous seasons and stuff.
just like you hear all the pundits say, I mean, like we've really embraced that positionless basketball. You know, it's kind of transition of that into the college game. It's already kind of got there with the NBA.
Y-
So I mean, what you got really is just a bunch of
Yeah,
really long forwards out there. You know,
we're extremely long.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think to going on that, what you said about positionless basketball, I was of the opinion that like as far as like this year goes, that Kentucky was going to be really good at that because we got plenty of forwards that can kind of they're like tweeners that can go in between positions. Do you
yeah,
think so?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
and I think that's why you've seen our zone do so well. I mean, that's the first time I've seen zone out of Kentucky since I can't tell you when.
Calipari
He's
hates
just
the
not a big
zone.
fan of the zone. And but with our length, I think that could be really effective.
I do think also with our length and athleticism that as the season goes on and this team starts to better understand the college game, gets a few games under their belt, the man-to-man defense should pick up great because I mean, we can switch any ball screen pretty much at this point. It reminds
Yeah,
me a lot of the 2015 team that had Collie Stein out there. They would guard perimeter players and pick and roll, and that can be scary on the defensive end.
yeah. I mean, I really liked Quad A Green's defense tonight. To me, he was really the only one-on-one defender that really showed, you know, any grit tonight. Thought he done well.
Yeah, there's definitely the length and athleticism on this team. The highlights I've seen, which granted are against teams that aren't exactly great, but I saw a lot of oops, a lot of like fast break, like transition
Yeah, and that's something
scoring
you
and
saw
stuff.
tonight. I mean, this was a pretty long team. I mean, you had Minyang. He blocked about everybody on the team. He's 7 foot tall and long, and like all their guys is pretty much 6'4", 6'5". So
I,
I mean, just a really long team compared to the teams we played in exhibition games.
and I think that's really going to be key for us because if we can't knock down that 3-point shot at a consistent pace, then I mean, it's not going to stop anybody from just loading up the paint and playing a 2-3 zone and preventing us from driving to the basket. So if we can use that length and athleticism to create turnovers on the defensive end, it's going to lead to easy buckets in transition,
Oh yeah.
which I think will take the pressure off our half-court offense.
So with that said, what are you seeing in this game coming up on Tuesday? Not to look by Vermont. Vermont's a great, was they a 30-win team last year? 29, something like that.
They won their conference. They're a formidable opponent.
Yeah. So just assuming we get through that game, what do you think about Monday or Tuesday?
I think we're going to lose, and honestly, I think we could lose by a lot because if you look at Kansas, they returned a lot of really good players. They had a nice recruiting class coming in, and it's a situation they've been in before. Plus, they've got the extra few days rest where they're not going to play another game between now and Tuesday. So with what's probably going to be a hard-fought game Sunday afternoon, factored in with the travel, playing away from home, and what could be a slightly biased crowd against Kentucky, I think it spells trouble for the freshmen.
Could be a difficult game for sure. I mean, even the 2012 team, we had some sophomores. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't even have. I mean, we got Winyon Gabriel, but I mean, he's not really a guy I think that we can go to and depend on. I'm hoping that he is, but I mean, in this first game, it really didn't look that way. I mean, he played well, but
And if you
he's not a
think
go-to
back,
scorer, you know.
if you think back to that 2012 year, we played Kansas to start the season that year too, and it was an ugly game. I mean, a lot of turnovers on both sides.
Yeah, Marcus Teague comes to mind.
Yeah, it was just a really grinded out game, and I think that's
if I recall, Marcus Teague had like 7 or 8 turnovers.
it was
By the
bad.
time the season was over, he was a
Yeah.
completely different player.
I think until Euless, he actually had the best assist to turnover ratio of any Calipari guard at Kentucky. So for him to have a game like that, it really shows you what a big deal it is for these freshmen starting the season out like that.
All right, so
would you
have
the sorry, so
Go ahead.
so would you get the takeaway with the same? So they're young, they're inexperienced. You know, as it goes on, they're probably gonna work on that. But would the that along with shooting, would that be like just the main issues with the team?
Yeah, I
right
mean
now?
that's usually the problems we have every year for the most
Right.
part. I mean, honestly, we always get a bunch of athletes really good defensively. Even though tonight really didn't see that, but that'll improve as the season goes on, I'm sure.
Yeah, and
Um,
let me throw this at you because I read this. This is a hot take. It was on ESPN, but they had said that like the hot take was the prediction was that Kentucky wouldn't even be able to be successful in the SEC, and they're saying it was because of shooting. We've compensated in the past with elite rebounding. The team's younger and lacks maturity and development for that kind of thing. Jamal Baker is that how you say his name?
Jamal.
yeah,
Jamal Baker and Jared Vanderbilt injuries could bleed into SEC play and affect that, and that was like the hot take that they wouldn't.
yeah. Well, Jared
So
Vanderbilt, he's actually supposed to be starting practicing by the end of this month, I think.
Yeah,
So that's
expecting
a
him
good
back
sign.
early December.
That's a good sign. Um, we actually got out rebounded tonight. I mean, we're really going to have to beef it up on the boards, especially with our, like just like you said. I mean, we're going to have to rebound. That's been our
And
go-to.
yeah,
if we have to go to the zone to stop teams, if we can't play man to man, it's going to
Rebounding
make
something you got to worry
rebounding
about.
that much difficult.
Yeah, rebounding out of zone is uh, big deal.
But I think one of the problems they need to solve fairly quickly is who is the go-to guy on this team? Who's going to be the leader in a 2-minute game with, a close game, 2 minutes on the clock? Who do we give the ball to and say get us a bucket?
I'm
Because we
right
don't.
now. I'm calling Hamadou or Hamadou, however you say his name. But I mean, yeah,
Hammy.
you're right because Kevin Knox and PJ both look really good what they've been doing.
I really
What
like
I've seen
PJ
from
Washington.
highlights. Yeah, PJ is really good.
Really like his game.
Yeah,
I think like sometimes some people get caught up in Kevin Knox and all this stuff, and Kevin Knox is great, but I think PJ Washington can be special. I really do.
yeah.
And
The highlights
go
were
ahead.
looking really well for him. And then Richards. Did they play him tonight?
He did.
Yeah.
Played
Yeah,
very
I mean
well.
he's
He
7
did
feet
well.
tall. He's apparently got a nice established defensive game, but
Yeah.
offensively he's going to have
I
to
think he has a
develop.
nice looking stroke. I mean,
He
honestly,
had
he's pretty
3
good.
blocks tonight.
See, and that's good. I like the team so far. We just have to get into it. I was reading another article about this term called peak cat. You ever heard that before?
Can't say
Well,
can't say I have.
peak cat is when you're watching a blowout by Kentucky, but yet you hear fans squawking, "They gotta do better," even if you're beating them by like 10 points. That's peak cat, right? He was just going on and on about
Well,
how
I,
these teams are
I
so
can
great.
give you an example of that. I've seen some tweets from some of the riders on press row that during the first half, a fan shouted out, "You can't win this game by 90 if you don't score 50." So I mean, the
Yeah, and
hey, that's Kentucky, man.
expectations are going to be high
That's
for
right.
this team.
right. So, but the
He's got to sign
takeaway,
up for it.
yeah, the takeaway from the article though was that starting out, it doesn't look like peak cat yet, but it looks promising that we're going to have like a peak cat season where people are going to be complaining that we're up by 50, but we're not up by 90,
That's every
and stuff
season.
like that. Yeah, and
And what was this term again?
peak cat.
Peak cat.
Yeah, peak cat.
Okay.
What you got to say
All
about
right.
that, Hoodie?
Well, with my times of watching Kentucky games, I would like to see more and more.
Yeah, Hoodie's
Actually.
like he is the example of the stereotypical fan that's watching them blow somebody out, but then something happens and he's just like, "Come on, man, are you kidding me? You guys got to play better." So yeah, I think
Think,
Hoodie understands it very well.
think
When I
there
watch
was a lot
Kentucky
of that
play,
tonight.
when I watch Kentucky play, I'm not watching to see if they win or not. I just want to watch to see how much we can blow them out of the water,
Right.
So you're a pink cat.
especially exhibition games.
You call him
So
a pink cat,
he's pink.
Pink
and he's a
Panthers.
cat. Pink
Yeah,
cat.
pink cat. So if you guys, unless you guys have anything else to say regarding Kentucky basketball, we'll kind of move on to the next topic.
Do,
Hold
do
on.
you
Hold on, I got something to
Yeah,
say.
any closing comments? Yeah, take it
do
away,
you
Tate.
see us being a Final Four team, Tate?
That's what I was going to say. I tell you, after tonight, it's hard to it's hard to say I do.
It's an exhibition
But
game.
the Big Blue Nation inside me wants to say,
No, it was not an exhibition game.
Oh, it
yeah,
wasn't.
this is
No,
actually
this
the
is
beginning
season
of
opener.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
But the blue blood flowing through my veins tells me yes.
I
But it's
feel
never told
like
me no. So.
that's right. Even the Gillespie years, I thought this is our year.
Oh yeah, every year.
But you asked me earlier in the week a Kentucky team I thought this team reminded me of, and I didn't really know. I thought about it pretty hard, but after watching tonight, I feel like this could be like the 2014 team, where they're extremely young. I think the regular season could be pretty disappointing to the fan base, especially considering how much better the SEC's gotten this year.
The Randall team, right?
The Vandal
Julius
team.
Randall. Yeah.
But I think by March, barring any major injuries, I think this team can make a run.
I mean, that team, it didn't. I mean,
They,
had James Young
yeah,
and
the Harrison
Harrisons.
twins.
Yeah.
That team, it didn't really click for them until the second round of the tournament.
That should have been number 9 right there.
Probably.
Number 9.
Should have been number 10.
Well,
Or
truthfully,
11.
we shouldn't probably even been there. But I mean,
Right.
since we was there, we should have got it. But
I mean, yeah. If we're going to get there, go ahead and win.
I mean, just go ahead and win it. You know.
Probably wouldn't have got the 2015 team if that hadn't happened. If that had happened.
You're right. All right. So, I mean, talking college basketball. So, I mean, I've heard some of the pundits say that, you know, some people's going into the season with a little bit of cynicism because all this FBI stuff coming out and, you know, all this Patino stuff, you know, that's where we're going with this, right? Patino?
Yeah.
Who?
So, I mean, we got to talk about Patino. I mean, you know.
Which scandal do we want to start with?
I mean, just take your pick.
Do we want to start with the money or with the whores?
Whores. They're whores.
Hand in hand.
Well, I was actually reading an article, and I found some scandals that we don't always hear about. So apparently, in 1974, Rick Pitino was a full-time assistant. 75.
He was alive in
And-
75.
Dude,
This
he's
guy's
older
a
than Dave.
vampire. He's
He
a
is a man. Have
vampire.
you looked at him? Have you seen a picture of him?
Looks like
Somebody
he
get a
was
mirror and
alive
find
in
this man.
1875.
Right?
Look up, Google image search Rick Pitino. The man's dead. He's a White Walker.
You put a mirror in front of Rick Pitino, he'd probably snort cocaine off of it.
Right.
Hot take.
Anyway, let me get back to my point here, boys. 75-76 season, Pitino actually became the head coach. And he was fired. He led Hawaii for the final 6 games, going 2-4. But that ain't what I'm talking about, all right? Pitino was implicated in 8 of 64 infractions that led to the university being placed on probation. This was in 75. And
Pitino is shocked at those allegations.
the violations involving Pitino included providing round-trip airfare for a player between New York and Honolulu. That's pretty expensive. Arranging for student athletes to receive used cars for season tickets, and handing out coupons. This is my favorite part. Handing out coupons to players for free food at McDonald's.
Coupons. Coupons.
If the
I mean, this
NCAA has taught us anything, it's that as long as it had a non-athlete student take that plane ride with the athlete from New York to Honolulu,
Oh, yeah.
it'd been fine.
Yeah.
Just ask
I mean-
North Carolina. You can cheat as long as everybody else cheats too.
Great point. Great point. But, I mean, you got Pitino down here at the local McDonald's getting coupons.
Coupons.
You know what I mean?
That's just great. I just imagine this high school kid on a recruiting visit to Honolulu, of all places, probably on a beautiful beach, surrounded by beautiful women. And what's Slick Rick do? Hey, man, I got you a buy one, get one Big Mac coupon right here.
I mean, you're getting a kid to come to Hawaii, and you're trying to convince him with
Egg
coupons.
McMuffins, yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder
But
he went
anyway,
2
I mean-
and 4.
I
What'd
heard
you say,
that.
buddy?
I heard that in Hawaii, the McDonald's there, they have pineapple pies.
You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
Heard it here
Pineapple
first.
pies. Go.
They use
Another hot take from Hoodie today. He's just spitting them.
I think they use a different recipe for apple pies too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Rick Pitino
it's
is
supposed to be a whole lot-
shocked.
It's supposed to be a whole lot better.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think, Rick Pitino? Was he going to get back in the business?
No.
NBA? Anywhere?
Listen,
How
Rick
does
Pitino is a disease to the sport of basketball. And I think the sport of basketball has finally figured it out. So I don't
mean,
think he's coming back.
You think about, just like, I was just looking up some of the scandals because there were so many, I can't even remember them all. I mean, I'm one of Rick Pitino's biggest critics, and I try to recite his scandals every day, but I can't remember them all. But I go back and find something I've never heard of. Even in his first days as a head coach. I mean, it makes you wonder about the places he has been. I mean,
Makes you wonder if the NCAA's got a statute of limitations on those violations.
Yeah, what is, like, you talk about this and all this stuff coming to light, and it's out there, right? You just gotta look for it. So
It's out there.
why is this not more prominent? Why isn't this like being brought up and stuff?
I
about,
think
like, this history and such.
in the mid 70s and especially on into the 80s, college athletics really kind of got out of hand for a while.
UCLA.
I mean, you had what's his name, Tarkanian or whatever his name is at UNLV. He said if he was recruiting against Kentucky and he seen the kid drive a Cadillac, he knew Kentucky was going to get the kid. So I mean, it's something that happened pretty widespread over college basketball, and I think just now it's beginning to become an issue.
Yeah. So you think Pitino's done?
I think he's done.
I agree.
I think
with
that-
Christian.
I think the only question is will Louisville or Kentucky, either one, acknowledge his existence in their history?
Well, you know he came out and, well, I
What are we
haven't
talking about
verified
again?
this quote, but
Vic
he
Pitino.
he said
Oh,
that he would
no,
never
no.
set foot back in the state of Kentucky again.
And the state of Kentucky thanks him for that.
Yeah. I mean, thanks, Rick.
I personally think that we need to take his name out of the rafters. And every year when we play Louisville, whoever loses the game should have to hang his name in their rafters. That's what I think.
Just let the disease spread.
I mean, honestly, though, it's really sad because the guy, I mean, you look where Kentucky was at when he come here and where we was at when he left and what he done for the University of Louisville. He's probably the best coach Louisville's ever had. And the fact that he's not going to be welcomed on either campus for probably the rest of his life, it's kind of tragic, honestly.
But you know that, I believe it was Gino Auriemma, said that he would hire him as assistant coach.
Well, good for Gino. Gino needs all the help he can get going to basketball.
Thought that was interesting.
Is that true? Did he say that?
Like I said, I haven't verified that, but I think I've read somewhere that he did say that.
Oh, so you're just throwing out hot takes.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
Everybody's got the hot takes tonight, boys.
Still don't know who Rick Pitino is.
Hoodie.
Oh man, another hot take. You need to calm down.
Rick Pitino is shocked that you don't know his name, Hoodie.
It's cold as ice in this room, and you were just heating it up right now.
With all these hot takes.
Yeah. So to kind of move away from basketball for a little bit, this is kind of more directed towards you, Christian. I mean, if you guys have been keeping up with this, you can chime in too. I just know for a fact that Christian has. But Louis C.K. released a statement on regarding these assault. Well, I don't know if they're labeled as assault. These allegations towards him.
It's assault.
Right. Have you read about that statement that he released?
I have. I read the statement.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, that even though he's been denying these allegations publicly for the past few months, that he actually did reach out to the victims and write personalized emails, at least apologizing and at least trying to explain himself. And I feel like he took a much better route than probably Kevin Spacey did, where
Yeah, absolutely.
he come out, admitted to it, was open about what had happened,
Spacey.
apologized to the women. And I mean, he's going to take a hit. He's not going to be around for a couple years. But I feel like maybe around 2020, we'll see another Netflix special where he comes out on stage and the first thing he says is makes jokes about the allegations.
Man, he's gonna be completely bald by then. Yeah, it's a shame too because no, I'm a huge fan of him, but he was popular. Like he sold out
Hugely
at the
popular.
places, like hugely, like the best thing
Several
since like
film
George
and
Carlin.
television projects.
Yeah, and it was sad. It's sad in general hearing about it, but when it's somebody you sort of idolize or you enjoy a lot,
Yeah,
and it's just like, man, I mean, they're people, right? Everybody's got their vice, but it's a little eye opening, you know.
it
Okay.
is.
Now, what was it that I heard about him masturbating?
He was exposing himself and masturbating in front of other female comedians.
Hot
Yeah,
take.
he was using his position, his power to,
To jack off.
well,
And
yeah, essentially.
according to him, he was asking them if he could do it. And he acknowledged that where he was in a place of power in that community, that a lot of them felt like they couldn't say no, and he really didn't realize that. So I mean, it's messed up that he done it. It's messed up
Yeah.
what he done, but I mean,
Yeah, and then with my psychological background, I want to sit there and think about like how he was raised and stuff, and the views he has on himself to like
at
kind of get to
least
this point. But yeah,
at least he's open about it and is trying to make amends.
yeah,
Which I think,
yeah, he took some good steps in addressing
yeah,
that.
Okay, so that was the whole thing. He was just
he was
masturbating in front of people.
jerking it in front of his.
Okay, so he's not like okay.
He wasn't like vaping anybody or anything like that.
Yeah.
He
I
was
gotcha.
just
Like Kevin.
Yeah,
he wasn't
not
diddling little
to
boys or anything like that.
yeah, not to take away from it. I mean, if it, everybody gets
It's messed.
traumatized,
I mean,
everybody
yeah,
experiences traumatic issues in different ways. But still, yeah, compared to like Spacey and others who have allegedly uh, done sexual acts or attempted to on the person without
and
their consent directly, then yeah.
I would hope that the way he's handled this is at least viewed. I mean, nothing to take away from the victims because you don't want the victims to feel like he's winning or anything in this, but I think it should be cast in a somewhat positive light that he is trying to make amends, so that
Yeah.
when future stars this comes out, because I mean it's going to come out about other people. I think it's pretty clear now that they too try to take those steps to make amends with the victims and do all they can to right the wrong that they've committed.
Yeah, this whole like movement that's starting with exposing Hollywood and like the sexual assault, the child the child molesters and all that. I like it. Like we need that exposure. Like that
Right.
we need to show that.
And we're going to lose some people we probably were fans of
Yeah,
and idols,
Oh,
and
for
that's
sure.
going to
that's a
suck. But
downside, but I mean, still, yeah, you got to bring the truth to light and
it
stuff.
needs to be
Cosby.
done.
Yeah, like with Cosby. If I was Louis C.K., I wouldn't have been surprised if he took that opportunity with these allegations, be like, "Oh, and by the way, I'm gay," just like with
Making a
Spacey.
joke.
Yeah, making a joke.
I could see that, but at the same time, you really don't want to try to make a joke.
Oh yeah,
at it.
that'd be really
Yeah.
bad. I'd laugh at it, but I got a
I would
messed up
laugh
sense of
at it, but
humor.
it'd have been
I would
like,
have
really,
laughed. It
man?
would have been bad. Yeah, there's no way he would have done that. But I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what if he
Let
did?
me
Oh man.
let me ask this question too while we're on the topic. How do you guys feel about like once these stars come out that they've done this? How do you feel about watching Louis C.K. stand-up specials or watching a movie with Kevin Spacey in it? Because I mean, Kevin Spacey's in some really good films.
He's a good actor. I mean,
Yeah, I
honestly.
guess with it, sometimes you look at the context of some things with the knowledge that you know that they've done this and think, well, that is creepy. But I guess overall, like, I still enjoy, like, I don't associate the person with the work necessarily in those circumstances. Like, you could be a terrible person, but I can still respect, like, your quality of work
Yeah.
and stuff. So I
Yes.
enjoy it.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, kind of like, what's the difference in that and watching Michael Vick play football?
That's
I mean-
true. That's a valid point.
It
Michael
depends
Vick's
for me.
Michael Vick is another guy who came out and admitted what he had done, served his time, and has done a lot to kind of earn back the public's trust.
So yeah, that's just how I view it. Which that's just one man's opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how I see it. Like I still like your work is separate from you, to me.
Yeah.
That quality.
Yeah. Let us know what you think. Tweet at us on X, the bandwagon X.
X the bandwagon. X.
That's our Twitter handle. Feel free to ask questions, make comments. We'll try to reply.
Don't
Nice
look at the
plug there.
picture though. Do not look at our picture.
The
Please.
picture's fine.
Not until I get a better picture. Yeah, I'm just it's okay. It's just that, with links around and stuff, we can get a
Listen,
better one up
guys.
It's a
there.
makeshift picture, all right?
We're going to be up front with you. We've never done this before.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed,
Obviously.
but we've never done this. A hoodie with another hot take.
Hot take.
Oh, and by the way, if anybody wants to sponsor us, because this is gold.
If you want to pay us for this,
Yeah,
feel
for no
free.
reason. Like if you just feel like being charitable,
Especially
Come here.
Past Pool Room. If
Yeah.
Past Pool Room is listening, you can reach me at actually just at me
Just
on
tweet
Twitter.
us. Yeah.
yeah, I'll actually pay you to sponsor us. I would love Pat's Pool Room to be
I will pay you
plastered,
to pay us.
to be plastered all over this podcast.
Somebody get a hold of Vic Patino and see if he can't get us some of that Adidas money.
Yeah, man, and a mirror. Somebody get a mirror. So to go with that little digression, going back into
A little
basketball.
bit off topic.
Yeah, well,
We should
it's
call
nice
this
though.
off topic.
Yeah, well,
basketball
it's mostly
to-
basketball. What's the bandwagon, buddy?
Interesting. to
We talk
basketball.
about whatever's
There's
going on.
all kinds of bands on this wagon.
That's
Oh,
right.
I was going to tell you guys something.
Yeah.
So my wife takes pictures, right? She's a
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I kind of came up with the idea. So
Here we go.
we was thinking for our picture, we could actually have us sitting on a wagon,
I hate it.
and
I better
That's
be a
fiction.
strong wagon. I'm sitting on it.
well, I said that Jesse may have to have his own personal wagon.
Oh, that would be great. Like everybody else on a wagon, to give me my own wagon that's really small
Can
and
we-
hard for me to fit
We
into.
can put Jesse in a yoke and make him like the bull that's pulling the wagon.
How about instead we all have our own wagon and we're all naked on the wagon? No.
Hoodie,
Hot take.
please.
Please.
Say hot
Contain
take one more
yourself.
time.
Hot take.
Listen,
Hoodie.
Tate, about that. Drew drives a motorcycle, right?
Yeah.
He does motorcycling.
Drew's
I
our
think you
friend, by
should
the
get
way.
Yeah, Drew's our friend. But I said you should get a sidecar and let me ride with you. And he Googled that, and the first thing that popped up was this old dude on a motorcycle with a helmet in a sidecar with a cow in it. And I thought, what an appropriate picture. That's exactly what it would look like if I was riding with Drew. I'll show you the picture later. It's hilarious. I died though.
And if you're wondering what we're talking about, Jesse just so happens to be a man of large stature.
Yeah,
Girth.
listen, I'm morbidly obese, guys. I weigh
Jesse's got
460.
some girth.
Yeah, I got some girth. I'm extra thick, like Kyle Lowry's ass. Okay.
Super extra thick.
Yeah. But so anyway, to get back into to basketball, the NBA side, the topic for discussion. Recently, Bledsoe got traded to
Bledsoe,
Former cat.
Kentucky Wildcat.
former
Oh,
Cat.
yeah.
I'm sure you guys got a lot to say to the Bucks, and he
They
didn't
actually won
play.
tonight.
He didn't play the first game back, but he did play in this game. And while Brogdon was moved to the bench, they're debating on whether to like mix and match. Jason Kidd's still kind of experimenting. But how good do you think this trade is for the Bucks obtaining Bledsoe?
Tremendous. Especially considering what they gave up.
Greg Monroe, right?
Greg Monroe on
Yeah.
a pick.
Yeah, I think Greg Monroe is a great player, and the Bucks fans are thanking him because he did great by them, and it's a shame that they had to trade him away. But Bledsoe is a great pickup.
I mean, I definitely think the Bucks got the steal on that one.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
honestly.
And it's just an unfortunate situation with the whole Twitter fiasco that Bledsoe.
I mean, what do you
done.
think? What do you think about the "I don't want to be here" tweet? I mean, honestly,
What did he say? He said it was at a hair salon?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
like how he
we don't-
tried to do that. Yeah, I don't.
we don't
I
know any
believe that.
details, but I mean, we can just speculate. But
Yeah, I mean, like he tried to say that he was at a hair salon, and the who was it? The GM? They didn't believe it, and I don't
Yeah.
believe it either.
I
Honestly,
don't know.
What is
Yeah.
this now?
Eric Bledsoe tweeted out saying, "I don't want
Breaking
to be
news.
here," in a reference to not wanting to be with Phoenix, and Phoenix immediately sent him home, and he did not play in a single game for Phoenix following until they found a trade for him. So not
Where'd the
only
hair
did
salon-
he screw up his trade value really bad, but he also kind of caused like a little mini PR disaster. For the
yeah, I mean,
Phoenix.
didn't
Yeah,
he
he's-
request a trade in the offseason?
Yeah. But, I mean, he screwed the Suns pretty hard with
Where
that.
Yeah.
does the hair salon come into play?
He
When-
tried his excuse was he wasn't actually tweeting about his issues with being on the team. He actually said that he was at a hair salon with his wife and he didn't want to be there.
I mean, either way, if he did do that, I feel like that's still poor judgment, even though he
Yeah.
is a member of BBN. But
Similar to DeMarcus Cousins, another
Yeah.
former Cat. When he during the draft a couple years ago, he said, "Lord have mercy" or something like that. Just a couple minutes after the Kings draft pick was announced, and then he tried to say he was doing yoga and was replying to that or something like that. So
the Sacramento Queens select DeMarcus Cousins.
Sacramento Queens. Man, Shaq was livid. He was absolutely livid. When is he not livid?
Shaq's great.
Yeah.
So where do you see the Bucks? Where do you see the Bucks finishing, boys?
I think they're in a kind of a good spot now. They're what Bledsoe gives them that they didn't have before was surprisingly, and this is from Jason Kidd, by the way. I'm not just kind of pulling this out my behind, but he's giving them speed. Because apparently
really?
the Bucks don't have speed. Like they've got Antetokounmpo, but apparently just on the whole they have length, but they don't have the speed. And Bledsoe is a man child, so he's going to bring them speed and toughness, defense. Also leadership, because these guys, even though they're not rookies, they're still kind of young, 24, 25, 26.
One of the younger lineups in the NBA.
Yeah. And plus,
I think he's just a good defensive guard to add, too.
Well, he's also good scoring. He averaged 20 points in Phoenix like his last season there. So he can score.
He can distribute the ball as well.
Yeah. He's a great point guard. I like him a lot, obviously.
I think what it does is you get rid of Greg Monroe, who was obviously not helping the fast break at all. So, I mean, I think they might have to change their play style. They might have to be more of a running gun team instead of a half-court, grinded out type. But I think they're good. I mean, it might take them a couple months to really figure it out, so they might not be a 1 or 2 seed, but I could definitely see them really challenging the Celtics and Cavs.
Yeah,
think they could be a top 4, 5?
They'll have home court, I think, surely in that conference.
Yeah, to look at the negatives with the team is they're second worst in defense and they're last in offensive rebounding. They play at a slow pace and they're terrible at making, as far as the coaching staff, despite having a bunch of really good defensive players, Tony Snell, Giannis, Middleton, and now Bledsoe. Jason Kidd, as much as I like him because he's a phenomenal point guard, on the all-time list, he's a mediocre coach, and they've been terrible at making defensive adjustments despite having this talent at their disposal, which what makes them so low in team defense. And then with the rebounding, the reason why they're not getting rebounds is they're transitioning more to catch up on defense because of those adjustments like I was talking about. Yeah. So that's the downside, and hopefully Bledsoe can help with that. And if they get their adjustments together and stuff with that, then I think, they can be in that top 4 or 5, Tate, because they got the talent.
Yeah, I mean, just like Christian said, I think Christian said this, he's a pretty solid rebounding guard. Actually, last year, he averaged 4.8 rebounds per game. I mean, that's almost 5 rebounds a game.
And
he's a man child.
It's impressive for a guy his size.
6.3 assists per game, 21.1 points.
Also averaged close to a block some seasons. If you look like 0.8, 0.7 maybe.
Very
and
athletic.
Short. Yeah. I mean, he's crazy. He's a freak. I'd like to see him on this team. This team that's like I said, they play at a slow pace. So like you were saying, Christian, they have to maybe turn into more of like just running.
Yeah, I think if it was me at the helm, I think that's what I would do. And they're another one of these teams that's really big into positionless basketball with Giannis and Chris Middleton. They've got a lot of really long guys who could probably guard 3 or 4 different positions.
Yeah.
So I think if you look at the East, it's kind of a point guard heavy conference, and I think Bledsoe can pretty much neutralize any guard in that conference.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting watching. What sucks for me though is Brogdon's going to get less minutes for my fantasy, and Tyson Chandler's probably going to get less minutes. So that's just me though.
I meant to tell you guys, I inserted Melo and Bill into my lineup.
Oh yeah,
I've seen that.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Jesse didn't know that there's only one more veto needed.
Listen, guys, I'm sorry I got lazy.
I appreciate that, Jesse.
Yeah, well, I still think I can beat you.
You probably can, because I've got, as of tonight, 6 players excited.
And let me tell you why I think I can beat you. Because Tyreek Evans has been exploding, which leads us into this next discussion about this upcoming game of the Grizzlies versus the Rockets. What do you guys think of that matchup?
I think it's really two polar opposites in the NBA. You've got the grinded out defense first Grizzlies and
Yeah.
the Houston Rockets, who is just we're crossing half court and we're chucking it.
Right. And to look at
And
both
Tony.
teams, players individually, like I was saying, Tyreek has been doing great the last little bit. Like they've been playing him off the bench, but he's been like recently he's been getting into it and averaging 20 points, and he's been like good for them. You know, Mark Gasol and Mike Conley, you know, as far as the Grizzlies are concerned, you know, they're untradeable. Like that's their core, so they're great. You know, Mark Gasol is a great defensive player, really extremely smart, extremely efficient, a top center still, I believe.
Absolutely.
And you know, Mike Conley, he's kind of like what we was talking about in Bledsoe. He's not. He's a really good defensive guard, and he can shoot. His shooting is getting better.
I think the Grizzlies have been just one piece away for a long time.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate. They remind me a lot of the Spurs in the sense that regardless of who they have, their system they play, they're always doing well. But if they just had that one player,
If they had
like you
one more
said,
great wing player that could score, I think they would be. They could
that
probably challenge for a championship. They're a nightmare matchup for the Warriors. The Warriors don't want to play a 7-game series with them.
right. Yeah. So yeah, if they just had that one player, man. But I always like watching them play because they remind me
I,
a lot of the Spurs.
I think this game is going to be a kind of a yardstick game for the Rockets to see if they are legit title contenders. Because if they can make that offense work, what's been working the rest of this year against that team, then they're a formidable opponent for anybody that comes up against them.
How does Chris Paul change that team?
I don't know. I was really excited to see it when the season started. I won't say excited. Interested in watching it because James Harden has just been on fire the past few years and especially the start of this season. So I don't know. I think he's just going to take touches away from Harden.
Well, statistically, he's been taking a lot more 3-pointers this season. So I think they're taking him to more of that role where he's just going to be another shooter
That's
out
just a
there
result
and
of Mike
stuff. But,
D'Antoni offense, though. I mean,
yeah,
you pretty much give them the green light. I mean, if you just put it up.
I mean, there's no better distributor in basketball than Chris Paul for an offense like that. So
yeah. So yeah, he's going to add that. Defensively, he's still solid. He's older, so you know, but he's still solid defensively as a point guard. Um, I've read that Austin Rivers had said that as far as like in the locker room and stuff, you didn't know who the leader was, Blake Griffin or Chris Paul, and there was like a little bit of traction between them about that. So I don't know if Chris, you know, as far as like locker room and like camaraderie and stuff
this
like that, I don't
is
know if Chris Paul is gonna, you know, if him and Harden are gonna bump or
this is
anything like
Harden's
that.
team.
Yeah,
I mean, no
absolutely.
matter what Chris Paul does, Harden has built this team.
Yeah, it's just that's
Yep.
what I'm saying though. Like with Chris Paul, I don't know if his attitude and stuff like that will affect the team. We'll have to see what the
I'll tell you
media finds out.
something that he really gives them, and they lost Patrick Beverly to get Chris Paul. So I mean, he's really going to have to be a workhorse on defense. Because let's be honest, James Harden is not a stopper.
Right. Well, actually,
Patrick
it's
Beverly's
like,
been good for the Clippers.
yeah, it's not
Yeah,
that,
Play well.
yeah, it's not that, and he can do it though. Like he'll show flashes. He just
yeah.
doesn't put effort in on defense, and it's annoying to watch. But when Harden does, he actually does pretty decent. It's just the effort isn't there. Probably because
I
he's too
would.
busy
NBA.
running up and down the floor chucking them. But you know,
I wonder if maybe that Chris Paul can kind of take some of the pressure off him on offense too, so that maybe he can be more energetic on the defensive side of the ball.
yeah, absolutely, and they'll do that.
That's a great point.
And Capella has been playing amazing for them this
Capella's a
season.
steal, man. I don't know how
Yeah,
those guys. That was a Spurs move.
yeah, like he's just been playing great. Um, he's a great he's great for that team as far as being a center
Yeah,
because he's there just he's great defensively. He can grab rebounds. He's still kind of young. He can develop. You know, like they're keeping him. They'll
they've
probably
got
give
it.
him like a
They've got
year's
a great
extension.
front office.
Yeah, like the Rockets. Yeah, the Rockets are the team that like besides like Dwight Howard, controversy because it's Dwight Howard. Like they've
Yeah.
built this team through just doing.
Yeah, they drafted some prospects and used them to get Harden on a steal of a contract. Honestly, looking back at it,
Yeah.
kind of like the Warriors.
To think he was coming off the bench for the Thunder.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was coming off the bench, but he was averaging about 30 minutes.
he was playing
Played a
starters
game at a
minutes.
point. Yeah, but he was coming off which was good because they had too much offense as it was with Westbrook and.
I've become a Harden
Durant.
fan the last couple years.
Yeah, I
I
like
really
Harden.
like to watch him.
I don't like some of his tactics, obviously, but
I don't like watching him on the defensive end, but he's got ball for a guy his size. He's a terrific ball handler, great
Yeah.
3-point shooter, can get to the rim.
James Softon on defense.
Yeah,
yeah, he seems like a cool guy just based on interviews and stuff with him. Like he still got family in OKC. He doesn't harbor any hate, and he literally said, "Listen, this isn't recent. This has been like a few years back, maybe during the Dwight Howard Harden era. But he said that he fully planned and we would have been okay with being the sixth man. Isn't that crazy? This MVP candidate caliber
I don't
player.
believe it.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I
Right?
don't
It
believe
sounds crazy. I believe it at the time.
He's got a little bit
content
of
with
an
that.
ego.
Yeah, you'd have to playing at that
I
level.
mean-
I wouldn't be surprised if he
I
did.
mean, yeah, I don't blame him, but
But I get what you're saying though. But that's what he said. I mean, take it how you want. It surprised me, and I just thought, man, how could they let that guy go? Like the Thunder's office is the exact opposite of
yeah,
Rockets.
they're unwilling to spend money on anybody, and it's really hurt them.
So who do you guys have like win this game? Who's your team?
I'm gonna take the Rockets in this one. I just feel like they're the better team overall. I feel like they could give the Warriors some trouble. I mean, honestly, I don't think they'll win, but I could see it going to 6 or 7 games.
I like the Rockets. I like them to win this game. I think they're probably the second best team in the NBA right now. But they're not going to challenge the Warriors. The Warriors have got the art of running gun offense down to a absolute science, and anybody who tries to run with them is just going to get crushed.
And the Rockets will try to run with them. But
The Rockets are going to try to run with them, and the Warriors are an underrated defensive team. They're not going to let Houston score 135 points on them.
they did spoil the ring ceremony.
They did.
They did. But I mean, this first game of the season, can't really
First
tell
game
them
of
about
the
that. But
And I think the Warriors are sandbagging, man. They know they don't have to go out there and give 110% every night to win.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like you don't have to go out there and play your heart out every game.
They'll do just enough to get home court advantage and then roll through the playoffs again.
Yeah.
so another game we got down here is Raptors Celtics. What's the thoughts on that?
Well,
Former cat Dwayne Casey coaching the Raptors.
Wayne Casey.
Obviously opinions incoming, but Grizzlies Rockets seems kind of one-sided, right? I think the Raptors Celtics is more of an even matchup, and the reason why I say that is the Raptors just came off a win against the Pelicans. They're fired up. Valanciunas did well against Cousins. He's good. He's great at guarding more traditional centers, like Cousins.
Yeah, I agree with you in that this will be a closer game, especially by the numbers. I mean, it's pretty close. Toronto comes in as number 4 in the Eastern Conference, which I'm sure that's probably shift and change as the season goes on. Because actually, you have Cleveland at 12th in the conference.
Yeah, Cleveland's not doing well.
I mean,
Another thing about this game, too, I don't know if anybody's seen or not, but Kyrie Irving left tonight's game pretty early on with concussion-like symptoms, so it's something to keep an eye out.
And they grabbed the 11th straight win with a comeback.
Yeah, which is really a testament to the coaching of Brad Stevens. That guy is unreal.
I would say that he was probably the second best coach in the league.
Behind Pop.
Pop.
Yeah, the Celtics just look like they're having fun out there. Like the rookies are stepping up. Jason Tatum was a great pickup. He's going to be a great third option if
Did
not
I
second
not tell
off.
you guys in the off season that you always trust Danny Ainge? And when he traded that first pick to drop down to 3 and get Jason Tatum, that's a great move.
Yeah,
That was a
Jalen
good
Brown's
move.
been doing amazing. Since their roster is more flexible now, Al Horford's been able to instead of them relying on him to be the primary like glass cleaner and doing stuff like that, he's able to play a little bit more.
I tell you what hurt the most in that trade for me was just losing Jay Crowder. Like I could handle Isaiah Thomas because I mean you're getting Kyrie Irving.
I
You're
think it
getting
was a good move to get rid of Isaiah Thomas. Hot
yeah,
take.
I do too. I mean he's got health issues that come up to be a little bit worse afterwards. He's what 30 years old now. He's a small guard. He's not going to play till he's 40. I mean, guy's
Yeah,
5'9", 11, whatever. And I thought it was a great trade, but I hated to lose Jay Crowder.
yeah, because I got a special place in my heart for those 3 and D guys, and Jay Crowder's one of the better ones, so it's hard to give him up. But looking back now, it's easier to see that getting Kyrie was better. He's been doing great. He's been giving them a lot more looks on offense and stuff. And like I said, it looks like they're just having fun out
Yeah,
there, just playing.
I mean you got the Cavs sitting at 5-7 and Boston at 11-2. Who would have
Yeah,
thunk it?
yeah. Aaron Baines is actually leading the league in defensive rating.
Vic Pitino is absolutely shocked that the Celtics are this good.
Like I said, it's great. And also saying like the Raptors, they're fired up from beating the Pelicans, and they've been if they play what they did, how they beat the Pelicans is everybody contributed. They were doing a lot of ball movement. Um, Everybody scored. Everybody pitched in. Valanciunas was doing great against Cousins. Um, DeRozan is one of the best ISO players in the league. DeRozan's a monster. I love him. So it's going to be
Mid-range
interesting
monster.
watching this. Yeah. Now, so the issues would be with the Raptors. Ibaka is kind of a bit slow to guard most power forwards these days, and plus a lot of times he's dragged out to the 3-point line. He's their best rim protector, arguably, and where he gets dragged out to the 3-point line more, they lose that.
I mean all the centers are shooting threes now. Like
Yeah.
every team has a big guy shooting threes.
Yeah, and like I
It's
was saying about Valanciunas, he's great against more traditional bigs, but he's not the best pick and roll defender or rim protector and stuff like that. And Lowry and DeRozan are both just doing great. Like as far as the eye test on defense, they're doing amazing. If they play like they did against the Pelicans with the Celtics and the way the Celtics play, it's going to be interesting basketball.
I
It
tell
could
you
go either way.
a thing that really interests me about the Raptors is that, especially this offseason, it seemed like a lot of teams were just making moves, holding nothing back, just really trying to add that one piece that could help them to compete. And the Raptors, that seems to be a team that's been close the past few years, really didn't try to make any big moves. And I mean,
yeah,
I feel like the window's kind of closing with that group.
yeah, and the Spurs even they received a lot of flack that they didn't make any big moves. I mean they let Simmons go and kind of invested money into guys like Ginobili, who's you kind of wonder what their timeline is. Like I think he signed a 2-year contract though.
He
But I
did.
mean,
Yeah,
2-year contract.
they got him
I
on a
mean,
deal. I mean, they're only paying him $8 million.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But I
just
mean,
don't think they'll
still,
ever
are
get rid
you?
of those guys.
I mean, that's money you could have invested in younger talent. The future.
But they did at least try to make a move. They went after Kyle Lowry hard and
Yeah.
and lost out to Toronto. But
Plus, they was also a contender for Kyrie. I mean,
yeah, they did try to make a move for Kyrie.
yeah.
Yeah, if they ever got a solid point guard like those guys, it's over.
I feel like they don't have a superstar, and they're getting to a point where pretty quick they're not going to have the pieces to acquire a superstar.
You know about the
And they're-
Spurs, right?
I'm
Spurs?
talking about the Raptors.
The Raptors, okay. Talking about the Raptors. Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're falling behind.
Yeah, they're paying
They're-
Ibaka a lot. Valanciunas is getting paid a lot. They ain't got a lot of money to sign
They're
like big
they're
names.
about to get into the Atlanta Hawks territory where they're good enough to make the playoffs every year, but not good enough to win.
Yeah.
Worst place to be.
Oh, shout out to Norman Powell, by the way. I don't know if you guys really know much about him, but I like him. Good
He's a
two-guard.
baller.
Long ass arms. I love him.
Got him out of did not find him in the G League from like
I
an
think
open
so.
tryout.
It's like one of those situations. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great pickup for that team. So
A
who you
little bit
guys?
off topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
Indiana got beat by Indiana State 90-60.
God.
So how about Archie Miller's first game?
I think Archie Miller was the perfect hire for Indiana.
I'm kind of jealous
I'm
because
jealous.
I was hoping like maybe eventually when Cal left, well at first back in the day before he became Jesus Christ, I was really wanting Brad Stevens. I mean honestly, but Archie Miller's kind of the guy that I was hoping, after Cal
I
leaves.
I actually because are they not cousins to Calipari, the two Miller coaches? I
Maybe. I'm
think
not sure.
they are. They're tied in with Calipari, but I think his brother in Arizona is where we go if Cal left today. But I mean, he's got that Adidas money hanging over him too, where he's caught up in that investigation. So who knows where that goes?
Yeah.
But I think Arizona's got to be one of the favorite titles.
All right. So, anything else to say on that, guys?
Um,
Indiana
yeah.
sucks.
Hot take.
Who's your daddy?
Who you guys have winning Celtics Raptors?
I'm gonna go with the Celts on this one. Assuming Kyrie Irving is back.
Rick Pitino is shocked that Tate picked the Celtics.
I'm sure he is. Rick Pitino coached the Celtics for a while.
I know.
Who you got, Christian?
I think they've had some injury trouble the last few days, and they've been able to sneak by. I think the Raptors probably steal this one, especially if Kyrie can't play. But I mean, the way they've started the season, especially after that, just straight up horrific Gordon Hayward injury in the first game. I mean, just Brad Stevens, Coach of the Year, all the way this year.
Yeah. Okay, and you, Hoodie, who you got?
So he's still here. He is.
You better be here.
Give us a good analysis, Hoodie.
Sure. No. Hey.
Hot take.
Heard it here. All right, so let's transition into our last subject of the night. And this podcast is actually happening on November 11th. So you're probably obviously hearing this at a later date, but tomorrow, we're playing Vandy.
Or
UK
today.
versus Vanderbilt. Well, today, yeah, it's actually 1 o'clock. So, so technically, we started this podcast at 11:10. So,
something like that. Yeah.
I mean, on 11:10. Now it's 11:11. So, but yeah, we played Vandy. Vandy. What are you looking for in that game?
Big game for Stoops. I mean, I feel like he really let one go last week. Let the big one go against Florida early in the season, so he really needs to kind of nail this one down. It's on the road. It's in Nashville. I've heard a lot of Kentucky fans on Twitter complaining about not being able to find rooms, so I don't know how much support we'll have down there fan-wise. I think we're actually right now listed at 2-point favorites.
Yeah. Last time I checked, it was plus 2.5, 50.1% favorite. So it's fairly evenly matched.
That Vandy defense is stout. I mean, our defense is they've got to stop the run. They've got to figure out a way to get the defense off the field. But I think it really comes down to whether or not we can establish the run game. Can Benny Snell and keep the chains moving, pick up 4 or 5 yards to give Steven Johnson a chance to air it out a little bit.
Yeah, and Vanderbilt's quarterback Schumer, he's kind of under the radar good. Like he's really played well in these last few games, and they scored 440 yards of total offense against USC. So they got what's their running back, Ralph Webb? He actually needs 38 yards to surpass Emmitt Smith on the SEC rushing list.
Wow, huge accomplishment.
So, I mean he ain't no joke, but he's only averaging 3.9 yards per rush this year. He averaged like 5.9 last year. So
they've also got a top 25 win this year against K-State.
Yeah. They're 0-5 against the SEC this year so far. But I mean, look at the opponents they've went against. I mean, it's kind of understandable. They've went against Georgia, got beat, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, Ole Miss. I mean,
And they played Florida early in the year too, when Florida
Yeah.
was still in the top 25.
Right. Yeah, they run the ball about 47% of the time, throw it about 52%. I think it's just a question. Kentucky's defense has been lacking, especially the pass defense. So, I mean, if we don't really tighten up on it, then I think Schumer's going to rust.
I think our linebackers have played pretty well, all things considered. So it all comes down to whether or not they can get them off the field. I mean, we give up 37 points to Ole Miss. If you give up the 37 points to Vanderbilt, we're not going to beat them because their defense is too good.
Yeah, I heard someone today say that either this could be one of those slow, real ugly games, or it could just be a shootout. Like the score could be outrageous.
I would really like Kentucky to see Kentucky jump out early, get a nice lead, and just hold it, man. I'd love to see us just win a 2-possession ball game for once this year, and not have it come down to the final possession.
One of the things about Schumer, what the pundits are saying is he's not going to beat himself. Like he's going to get downfield. He's not going to be explosive. Like he's not going to get those huge gains, but he's not going to make any mistakes. You know,
he's just take care of the
solid. Right. I mean, their defense is better than ours, but Ole Miss scored 57 points against them. I mean,
yeah,
they're not the best defense.
It really, because their offense looked bad last week against the worst rush offense in the SEC. So I mean, as long as we can take care of the football, we had 4 fumbles against Tennessee. Just take care of the football, get your defense off the field, score more points than the other team. I think we win.
That's how it works, ain't it, Birchall?
Wait, wait.
With the bell.
My daughter field blows football.
Take the damn charge.
It's a little bit of an insider. All right, so who you got? Final score.
I'm gonna take Kentucky 28-24.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take the Cats. I'm gonna take 31-28.
Nick Pitino is shocked that we picked the Cats.
Man, Rick Pitino's gonna have a heart attack being shocked so much. Us, obviously, man. I mean, come on. Who else am I gonna pick? The other team? Psh, screw that.
Bunch of nerds.
On the
bandy.
How about the playoff rankings? What's your thoughts on that? New playoff rankings come out. Georgia takes the first spot, followed by Alabama.
Let me tell you something, Paul. Bama is the number 1 team in the country, Paul. They're undefeated. They ain't been beat by nobody. Georgia still got to play Auburn, Paul. They can't beat Auburn.
The Paul Feinbaum collar
Roll
impersonation.
Tide.
Tell us where that come from.
Well, if you listen to the Paul Feinbaum show, Alabama is passionate about their football. And they also can't say the name Paul. So they say Paul, Pawwwl. And it's amazing. I love it. I could listen to Alabama people talk about Auburn for the rest of my life.
Is that where Charles Barkley went?
I'll pass.
Yes.
Of course. Hear Charles Barkley talk about Auburn.
War Eagle. But honestly, I think Clemson probably gets in with the 1 loss because, I mean, they're the defending national champion. You're not going to put them out. Notre Dame's got a tough game against Miami this week. That's whichever team wins that probably solidifies their spot in the playoff. Yeah. And then as long as Alabama and Georgia can get by, both of them play ranked opponents this week. Both of them on the road at ranked opponents. So as long as both of them gets by that, Alabama's still got to play Auburn at the end of the year. I think regardless of which one of them wins the SEC championship game, they both get in because I honestly think it's going to be Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah, so, I mean, if Miami pulled this off, you have to think that Oklahoma's playing TCU, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I mean that's the 5 and 6, number 5 and 6.
But
If I'm not
you're
mistaken.
talking about number 7 playing number 3, and Miami's not lost a game yet this year.
Yeah, but I mean, like, one of those teams is going to lose, so likely they're going to jump them. Loses. I don't know. They might jump into the top 4.
I think the winner of that game goes into the top 4, and I really hope they do, because I would love to see Mark Richt have to play Georgia after they fired him for going 9-3.
That would be something.
That would be amazing.
That would be something to see. So who do you think right now, as it stands right now, who's got the best case get into the playoffs, other than who's in there right now?
Well, I mean,
Kentucky.
I'm going to say
Hot take.
you got Georgia and Alabama are locks. I think Clemson is a lock because they are the defending national champion. Then you look at the rest of these one-loss teams. You got an undefeated Wisconsin who plays Iowa, another top 25 opponent this week. You got Miami sitting at 8-0, ranked 7th in the country, playing number 3 Notre Dame. So I really think those two games are going to make a big difference. You got Oklahoma and TCU playing each other. It would be hard for me to take a Miami team that's undefeated and leave them out for a one-loss Oklahoma or a one-loss TCU or anybody like that.
Yeah. I really like Oklahoma.
Oklahoma has looked good.
They got that loss to Iowa State. Baker Mayfield's son is a boss.
So did they lose? Did they lose to Iowa State too?
I believe so. I believe it was
So
Iowa State.
they got 2
maybe.
losses.
Who did they lose to?
They beat Ohio State. Okay, I'm confused.
I think they lost to Iowa State.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know. I really like Notre Dame. Their only loss came to Georgia by 1, so it was the second game of the season.
Yeah,
I beat some quality teams. And I think that's something about Wisconsin. I really don't buy into Wisconsin because
they've not really played anybody yet.
They haven't played anybody. They got a good opportunity today, technically, against number 20 Iowa. Be a good win. Michigan coming up, so maybe they can make a little bit of a case there.
Plus, they'll have the Big Ten championship game. The thing that really hurts Notre Dame is they're not officially part of any conference. They're not going to play a conference championship game. And it's going to be really hard to put them in. If you look at a team like Miami has to play Clemson in their conference championship game, and Alabama has to play Georgia, and Oklahoma has to play Oklahoma State again, or somebody like that, it's going to be hard to just ignore that and put them in anyways, just based off their regular season.
That's a good point. Okay. Anything else?
Any closing comments, questions?
Well,
concerns?
we do want to thank our veterans. Just want to say thank you for your service from the Bandwagon podcast. We couldn't do it without you. The right to voice our opinion, disagree, means a lot.
Very respectful, Tate. I like that.
Shout out to my grandfather. Served in World War II. Spent 214 days as a prisoner of war. Kind of miss him every year around this year. He's the only veteran that I was really close with. So,
shout out to Zach Kemp's granddad who has his death grip.
Dude, he's got the strongest hands. That dude's hands.
If you were to close your eyes and grab a hunk of metal in his hand, you couldn't tell the difference. That's what it feels like.
Be sure to tweet us at X, the Bandwagon X. That is our Twitter handle. Tweet us some questions.
I think we could have
Maybe.
a better handle.
That was the only thing available.
Sounds like an 8th grader's Xbox Live name.
You know, I mean, but that's the charm, right? This is the most unprofessional podcast you've ever
Unscripted.
heard. Unscripted, unfiltered.
Obviously.
Most of the time, Christian tries to watch his language.
I think that was the better podcast name. The most unprofessional.
The most unprofessional podcast.
Well, where was you at when we was making podcast names? We don't have options. We are full-blown the
All right.
bandwagon.
All
We've
right.
said it 15 times.
All
All right, so
Christian.
we thank you for joining.
Yeah, thanks for
until
stopping
next
by.
time.
No, look, thanks for stopping by. You know, if you like this
Y'all come back now,
podcast,
you hear?
if you like this podcast, and if you like pounds of butter to be put in every like food you eat, let us know on Twitter. You know, next podcast will come out. It's to be determined. Yeah, that's it.
Give us your comments, questions,
Concerns. Lots
good
of
or
concerns.
bad,
Yeah.
constructive or destructive feedback.
Yeah, we
Or
treat
not.
each other like crap, so we can handle it. You come at us.
I can't.
You come at us, we will come at you, though.
Right.
We do
I
reserve
know
the right
bullshit.
to come back.
Pats, please sponsor us.
You at me, you better be ready. 'Cause I'm
Okay, I
coming
think
at
we've
you.
let this go on a little too long.
What are you talking about?
Sign us out, Hoodie.
See
Take
ya.
us off there.
That's
Bye.
all, folks.
See you guys.
Wow.